Hello, everybody around the world. Welcome to the AG News Show. This is Roberto Alvarez-Galloso. We're doing a special election coverage. This is not your usual election coverage because we're not covering Republicans nor Democrats. We're covering other parties, especially the Libertarian Party. With this, I'm going to start. And I will allow Mr. Roos, who is our guest, to feel free to use the quote anytime. Diversity without diversity of thought is totalitarianism. This is my own quote, and I'm authorizing Mr. Hector Roos to use it in his speeches. Roberto Alvarez-Galloso. Okay, we have here Hector Roos. In less than 10 minutes, give me the platform of the Libertarian Party for Florida and why you are running for governor of Florida. And at 7:28, I have to cut because I have another interview.
Sure. Thank you, Roberto, for having me. I'm Hector Roos. I'm the Libertarian Party of Florida's candidate for governor here in the state of Florida. I'm running because we deserve choices on the ballot. Americans and Floridians, we say that we're for the free markets, but we love choices, and we go and we have the ease of going and comfort of going to places like Amazon on our phones, or going to any number of stores to go shopping, to have all these choices. But then when we go to vote, we're typically left with only two choices, and that's not right. And that, as Roberto would say, is the essence of dictatorship. I mean, this is when you have no choice, and with no choices, that's all you're left with. So the Libertarian Party stands for not simply we're against the Republicans or against the Democrats. We have our own principles, and we have our own policies that we promote. The first thing we promote is you. We promote that you have the power, that you are the individual that has the power that knows best what is good for them. Not a politician removed in a faraway state, whether it's Tallahassee or Washington D.C. We in Miami, where I am, we're much more closer to Havana than we are to Tallahassee by far, and a lot of people feel that way because Tallahassee is so far removed from what happens, from the policies that they pass on to us, that they enforce against us. What are the policies? They're the policies that ultimately have led a cost of living crisis in Florida, from everything from property insurance to inflation to property insurance or windstorm insurance. Now that we've been through Hurricane Ian, and we still have right now over almost 3 million homeowners in Florida without power. It's 2022, and we are still dealing with an antiquated electric grid that was created more than 150 years ago. So this is, obviously, these problems are all created by the politicians saying that they want to help us. But at the end of the day, they're simply making our lives worse and making us pay for it at the same time. So the solutions that we're bringing forward first are these issues on cost of living. For property insurance, certainly this is a regressive tax, a tax that we can never get rid of and escape from. Because no matter, even if we don't own a home, we're still going to pay for somebody else's property taxes through our rents. So this is and ultimately it's not based on any ability to pay. So it's a regressive tax. We should eliminate it. I actually stand with, back in 2010, it was now Senator Marco Rubio who said that he wanted to abolish the property taxes. And 12 years later, we're still waiting. We're still waiting. That this was a Republican position piece back when the Republicans actually gave lip service to the idea of limited government and less taxes. When we now know they don't, right? Especially if we saw anything in the last 2 years of what's happened in Florida. The reality is that we really do need to go back to an idea of where can we free people in a way that they're able to use their money the way they want to. And the next thing is, of course, the property insurance crisis. So unfortunately, we have a public monopoly called Citizens that offers people insurance rates that are very much under market pricing, right? So they basically destroy the private sector market by underbidding the entire private sector. But they've given us policies to insure our homes that will likely have to obviously now in a hurricane, they will never be able to fully pay us back under those policies without another bailout, without some kind of bailout. Because they've essentially, they have given us policies that are based on undervalue of the house. And our houses have gone up in value because of inflation alone, right? Mm-hmm. This is a crisis that's only going to continue, and we're going to see, this is going to be very acutely aware. This is what people are going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks leading up to the election. It's a big problem. The next one is electricity. Florida is considered the sunshine state, but we're still trailing behind other states for solar power generation. But not only solar, why are we with nuclear? Why are we with tidal energy? Putting a buoy in the water that goes up and down, we can generate electricity that way. We're number one in tidal energy potential. We're number two in the country for solar energy potential. And the reality of why electricity is so expensive, anywhere from double across the state, I'm paying double. Or if you live in certain areas, you can be paying as much as 4 times.
Right here.
The chair of the Libertarian Party. Yeah, the chair of the Libertarian Party in Florida got over an $800 bill in 1 month for his electricity. And why? Because the electricity companies all bet together that they're going to have cheap natural gas to power all their power plants, and then in comes President Biden, and inflation comes in as well, and the price for natural gas exploded. It just went up. So all of our electricity bills went up as well because of that. Now we should not have to rely on one form of energy for electricity like that. Never. We should have a comprehensive policy, which we don't have in Florida, that allows other people to explore other sources of energy. Like I said, solar, nuclear, could be other tidal. I haven't mentioned renewables because they come to mind. But even recycling garbage and burning them would be a lot more efficient than what we're paying now in natural gas. So those are the big things. Those are very important things that we have to tackle. Because ultimately, going back to the property insurance issue, talk about the solution there. We really do need to open up the market. The taxpayer, the property owner here, is not allowed to actually get policies from outside the state of Florida or even international. The number one insurer for catastrophic or windstorm insurance is Lloyd's of London. They've been writing policies for hundreds of years to insure from storms. And we don't allow them to exercise here. So this is a huge problem. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I want everybody to remember, it was over the summer when I decided to go run for this office because I woke up in sweats. So I'm a first generation immigrant. My family comes from South America, where we live with a degree of lawlessness that you have to protect yourself. The government really is probably not as well armed as the thieves on the streets, or you're dealing with narco-terrorism, or
which Latin American countries? Which Latin American country is that? Peru. Here it's Cuba.
So the stories I grew up with, and talking to and going over there. Actually, my first experience going to Peru was in the 90s, and I'm seeing the Mexican embassy had just recently been blown up. Literally, so all you have is debris in downtown Lima. That's what I'm watching. That's my first experience to it. But just a couple years before, you had basically communist death squads operating on the streets, and police couldn't even go out in uniform. So that's my experience. That's my experience. And fundamentally, the right to self-defense is a natural human right. You cannot violate that. But our state, even though it's run by Republicans, it's probably I should say it's the most unfriendliest state to self-defense and the Second Amendment that is run by Republicans in the country. And why do I say that? Is because they have laws that limit the age of when you can purchase a firearm. You can basically serve in the army, you can go to war, but you can't buy a firearm until you're 21. You can purchase a firearm, but you have to wait an extended a long waiting period. And if you're considered a danger because someone accuses you and it takes you to the police, and they can knock on your door one day, come with a court order that you have no idea about, and they can seize all your firearms and your ability to defend yourself. Now, in a hurricane, in the aftermath of a hurricane, actually very important that you have access to your self-defense to protect yourself, your family, and your property. But the reason why I really took the chance to run this time was because the National Congress decided to pass a national red flag law based on the Florida standard. And our governor has been a supporter of red flag laws on the record since 2019, and has refused to actually take any steps to repeal these laws and restore Floridians' unquestionable right to defend themselves. So libertarians are about the individual. We know that the individuals know what's best for themselves, and we have too much of Republicans and Democrats working together against our self-interest, whether it's through taxes, whether it's on our self-defense. And libertarians will stand for you, stand for each of us to decide what's best for themselves. And parents should respect their children. They should be respected in terms of how they should raise their children. The government shouldn't be able to say we're the co-parent, or even ever assume that they're the ones who own the children. And that's something that we need to see more pushback. Well, we need to see more parental rights, not more school choice, but parental rights. And that's where the focus should be. And I will be on the ballot in November, and I'm very happy to have joined you today.
For me, it's a pleasure and an honor having you here. And we know elections are going to be on November 8th. I am not inviting, I am challenging everybody to go out and vote and exercise the right to vote. It is something that exists in very few countries, especially the United States at this time. Vote for the candidate that you think will do the best for you. Personally, I think Hector Roos is going to do a great job if he is governor of Florida. He has my support because, of course, I'm gonna remove the mask. I'm a libertarian just like he is. But it's not because of that. It's because I'm hearing a lot of common sense from him, and I've not heard any common sense from anybody else. I do want to thank you very much for coming in. Don't leave yet, because I'm going to be saying goodbye before leaving to give you the thanks. Please vote for the candidate of your choice, but please take a look at the Libertarian Party platform. Take a look at Hector Roos, and if you can, vote for him. The guy really makes a lot of sense in a world that is becoming less sensible. Well, peace in, peace out, and peace everywhere.